Hi YouTube, please give me a moment while I connect to Facebook. We'll be getting started momentarily here. What's up everybody? Welcome to the Strategic Swing Trader. I am Sami Abu Saad, Director of Education at T3 Live. Hope you're doing well, hope you're enjoying the holiday weekend. Let's go ahead and get started by taking a look at the market and by taking a look at some swing ideas for next week. But before we start, as always, a standard required disclaimer to let you know that trading is risky and that whatever we discuss is for educational purposes only. If you'd like to download a copy of my free ebook, link for that is in the description. Also, actually in the description of the video below, I dropped a link to our Memorial Day sale. You get 40% off if you bundle, if you, I think, buy two things at the same time. So you get 40% off. Expires tomorrow at noon, so check it out in the description of the video below. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. Let's take a look at the market, and then we'll look at some really good swing ideas for next week. There's a lot of items on my list, and not a lot of bullish items either, and not a lot of bearish items, just a lot of bullish ones. All right, first the market. The market last week put in a higher low. Actually on the Qs it was kind of an equal low, or you can just say this last sell-off here failed to make a significant new low, meaning, you know, the sell-off here totally made a significant new low. The sell-off here totally made a significant new low, right? This last sell-off barely made a new low, right? And it wasn't even on a closing basis. The SPY, the same as the Qs, I guess, penetrated the prior low and then snapped right back. The IWM, I think, put in a higher low. So again, if you look at the market, every time we dropped on the way down, we made significant new low. This time around, we even put in a higher low. So the point is, we put in a higher low. When you put in a higher or equal low, or fail to make a significant new low, usually the next move up takes out the prior high, which is what we see, what we saw happen last week. Okay, we have more room to go up, but I don't think this was a long-term bottom. I don't think. I have the TQQ in my IRA account. I trailed out of the swing account, but a little too early, but I still have some in the IRA account, and I think we're higher to about, on the IWM, I don't know what the number is, the area about 190 to 190, 194. The Qs, I think 430. We have room to about 330. So we have a lot more room on the Qs, 330, and then the SPY is 430 up here. Now, because we are in a bearish market, of course the last 3 days were really bullish, but because we are in a bearish market, we might not reach the prior high. Okay, so I said we have room to about 430. It's not an exact number, it's an area, so the area of 430, so it could be as low as 425, so that prior resistance area. But that doesn't mean for sure we're gonna reach it, because we are in a mostly a bearish market. So anytime, if we take out, let's say tomorrow we take out Friday's low, then that would, to me, signal the continuation lower. So I'm just looking for a break of a prior bar's low to signal the continuation of the trend lower. We have room up still, but we could at any time, at any day, resume the downtrend. And again, some might look at the weekly and say, you know, this was a wide range green bar here after 7 red bars in a row. This is a long-term bottom. I don't think so, but I do think we still will move up some more. I am prepared to trail as soon as we take out a prior bar's low. Okay, on the TQQ mostly. I started the week last week on Monday, the very first day of the week, and I said I think this is going to be, and room members know that, of course, I think this is going to be the first up week we have in the last 8 weeks. That's what I said on day one. It just felt like we were gonna bottom. I showed you the fact that the market failed to make a significant new low, and the way we started to, we gapped down, and then we started to, we didn't follow through on the gap down, moved up, and then the 20 MA started to point up. So I felt this was last week. I felt from day one, from Monday, I felt it was gonna be an up week, and it was. So we'll see how far that takes us. As I said, we still have room to the upside if the but I don't know if the market is gonna do it, but we still have more room to go. And I told you on the Qs almost to 430, on the SPY 430, and then the IWM, I think, basically looking at the prior resistance and the declining 20. So the IWM would be around 194. Okay, that's kind of the top end of the resistance, and that's where the 20 MA on the weekly will be. And then the Qs I'm expecting here, that's 330, and then the SPY 430. We'll see if those targets end up getting hit, but if we take out a prior bars low, definitely will be trailing out of my TQQ position. I didn't take it as a long-term position, just as a swing. Okay, all right, let's now take a look at the swing ideas that I got for you for this upcoming week. First thing I want to say is I have a few Chinese stocks on the list, some China stocks on the list here. If you want the complete list of stocks that I really like that I'm watching, the China stocks, they are in the description. This is not the complete list, but those are kind of the ones that I like the most as of right now. And the YINN is the triple leveraged ETF for the FXI. I usually play, when I play the market, I play the leveraged ETFs. So the TQQ, the SQQ, right? When I'm playing the market, the US market, and when I'm playing the China market, I will usually play the YINN, which is the triple leveraged ETF for the FXI. But do whatever you want. Those are we'll go over them in a minute here, but I just wanted to give you a heads up that I'm bullish on, and a couple of them triggered last week already for subscribers for the newsletter for me and my own account. But if you're not part of the program yet, then you wouldn't know it. All right, here are some swing ideas for next week that I really, really like. The ACCD over the base, long. Okay, I don't know what the entry is exactly. I don't remember, but basically it's over the base. Whatever the highest point is, it's 650. It looks like. So over 650 long. Stop under the base, which would be 5. I thought it was 550. 550 something, but it looks like 560. It's 559. There it is. So over 650 long, stop under 559. So it's a 90-cent stop, and target should be around $10 would be the minimum. The prior bars low. Okay, but it's actually 988, and then it could get up to the prior red bars high, which is 1250. So between 975 to about 1248, basically that's the target area. When I say, like when we were talking about the market, I said it has room to 430. I mean in the area of 430 on the SPY. It doesn't have to be exactly 430. It could be 425. That area. The same here. It could be between 975 to 1250. Okay. On the ACCD, really like it. AVYA triggered already on Friday or Thursday. I'm not sure. Thursday maybe. It still looks good, but it would need to take out. It would need to take out 385 with a stop under 350. Okay, 385 by 350. BHC. Okay, this one is a little tricky because we don't have much room to the 20, and that's usually the target. And the other thing is, it's got a good amount of resistance above now because we have a pivot above, but I really like that weekly chart. Oops, sorry about that. Here's the weekly. Really like the weekly climactic buy setup. So I like it over 1015 by 913. Okay, long. And target, I'm expecting it to stall initially at the prior high right here. And then, but really target one is ultimately 1280 and maybe target 215. This is like the bros last week, which wasn't in last week's video, by the way. If you took it, it got to target already. Same exact idea, novice gap down, but this one didn't come in as much, so it held up, stayed at the top, and so when it broke out, it was better than the BHC. BHC came in, but I like it. It's the same exact picture on the weekly chart. CLOV, notice the CLOV was in a severe downtrend, and finally that breakdown over here turned into a bottoming tail bar. So we're gonna have a breakout if the CLOV takes out the base, the top of the base. Okay, that's the weekly chart. Going back to the daily, so over the base long, stop under the pivot. The pivot is 250, and the entry on to the upside would be over 294. Only if it takes out 294. Okay, and then stop under 250 and target the prior pivot high over here around 390 for target 1, the 200 around 475 for target 2. Okay, CLOV. It's actually not one of the ones that I picked for my own account and for the SST newsletter, but it's one of the, you know, I like it. It's a good watch. ENDP already triggered for us over 40 at 40 cents. So you see that 39.95 cents. So once it took that out, it already triggered. And the same, and the same with the AVYA. So why are they on the list? Because they didn't really get going that much. So anything that's triggered and is already too late, I don't go over it with you because it's already too late. But stuff that still is not too late, I like to mention it. The ENDP over 50 cents, 50.15. So let's say 51 cents. Stop under 45, and target 1 would be 60. This area right here, 65 maybe, and target 2 would be the 20 MA on the daily chart. So it still has a lot of room. It based also on the hourly chart, so it's gonna have a base breakout basically, as long as it takes out 51 cents. Stop can be as tight as right below it, or a little bit more below, but I would just use the tight base and target 160 cents. This chart is squished a little bit because it's on arithmetic scaling. So here it is, it opens it up a little bit when you go to logarithmic scaling. So I like it a lot. And then some Chinese stocks, FINV is a transition A on the daily chart, and a 1, 2, 3. So long over 428, stop under 413. Or if you want to be safe and you want to play it, if you want to play some of those China stocks long term, then absolutely I would use the wider stop and put the stop here rather than there. Okay, technically speaking, one can put the stop just under that narrow range bar, but if you don't want to get shaken out and want to hold on to it long term, then I would give it down to the pivot. Now if you look at the yen, I think it printed the first 2 green bars on the weekly chart in a long time. Okay, so we've had some green bars, but I think those are like the first 2 green bars that had higher highs. Okay, like for example here we had 2 green bars, but they didn't even, this bar closed below the prior bar. So these were the first 2 green bars, which signals continuation higher to about $5 at least. And if we get to 5, then the next target area would be almost $10 basically on the yen. It will all depend on what the US market does basically, and right now we're in a bearish market, but we have bottomed short term at least. Okay, so we'll see what ends up happening with the yen. But again, we have some Chinese stocks that I really like. FUTU I like a lot, over 36.36. Stop, again, one can put the stop under that narrow range bars low, which is 33.80, but to not get shaken out, under 31. Okay, and long term target 150. I mean, this thing has a lot of room. If this ends up being the bottom, target 2 over here. A lot of the yen is down like 90% from the top, or even more. I don't know. Well, just this year, since 2021, since last year, it's down 90%. Okay, so if somehow we end up bottoming for a while, this could easily go to $10 easily. And then GLNG is oil. I like it. It's a big stop, but it's a lovely pattern. long over the red bar's high, stop below it. So 25.70, stop under 22.50. Looks higher to up here to like 30s plus 30 to 35. So 30 would be target 1, 35 would be target 2. Okay, like it a lot, but it's not a tight stop. IOVA is a unique play. So when I look at gaps, if I see a powerful gap that doesn't move the day of the gap, so this thing didn't move much, it moved down at the open and then it based. Here's the intraday chart. Okay, so it's mostly based the whole day, almost. After the first 15 minutes it just went sideways. So if it breaks above the base, I think this could be played long. Okay, so it would be over 720. If it breaks under the base, it could be played short, whichever way it goes. Okay, that's why you see it on my bullish list and you also see it on my bearish list, because whichever way it triggers is how it should be played. Under the base short, above the base long. So it's just an idea. One could hold it swing, but it would be more of a day trade idea. On the IOVA, IQ is another China stock, like it higher over 405, stop under 384, 405 by 384. KOD is transitioning on the daily chart, like it. Let's open up the chart a little bit. Let's see if we can go to logarithmic scaling. I use logarithmic scaling mostly on the weekly and the monthly, and then the daily and the intraday on arithmetic scaling. So here it is, over the base, long, which is 710, stop under the base. I don't know I don't remember the exact bottom of that base, the lowest point, which looks like it's 645. So over 710, stop under 645, and then target would be $10, about $10. Maybe target one, this prior pivot around $9, $8.75, and then target two about $10. Like it a lot. KOD. Next is oil also. USO. Remember I talked about USO and ERX in last week's video? I'm in them. So they triggered. USO long, ERX long, triggered already last week. So they're not going to be on my list this week because they're already too late if you're not in already. But NEXT is not too late. We have a base breakout. Over the daily highs, whatever the highest point is, stop would be under 625. Looks pretty good. Netflix. Now, I don't think Netflix is going to go like way up. But could it get back up to 250, 245 or so? Sure. So that's what I would be playing it for. Just a counter rally back up to the prior resistance around 245. So here's the weekly chart. Looks pretty decent. Long over 196. Stop under 175. It's a $21 stop. If you look at the monthly, would love to see that monthly bar's high get taken out, but I can't wait for it to get taken out before getting into Netflix if I really want to play Netflix, because then the stop would be way too big. Okay, Netflix definitely damaged beyond repair. It's not going back all the way back up anytime soon, not in this year, not next year, not the year after. Okay, most likely it's done for a long time to come because it broke a long-term uptrend like so. But could it get back up to here even if the market bottoms and rally, puts in a really strong rally? Absolutely. Could it get back up to 750? No, I don't think so. Not for a few years at least. Okay, but could it get back up to here, which is about $400, $395? Okay, yes, but as a swing play, I would say just to 250. It will all of these ideas, whether they turn into good long-term plays or just swing for a few days, will all depend on what the equities market does. Okay, so that's what it will all depend on. Some of these are really, really good long-term, especially the China stocks. But if the market crashes again, starts to crash again, like it's been doing except for last week, then they will come back down too. So, I'm prepared to play them as swing, and I'm prepared to hold them long-term if somehow the market ends up rallying for a while. And I don't remember what the symbol here was. So Netflix, I guess it was NUTX. I just typed over it by mistake. So NTUX, let's go back to the daily chart and see what it looks like. Okay, this is kind of just an hourly based breakout. It's like the IOVA. I don't normally mention these because I usually, if I do play them, I usually get out on the same day or, for just a day or two. So long over the base, stop under it. Okay, it's a kind of a unique play. Target would be up here, at least target 1. Okay, that prior bar's high. It's a unique tight base on the hourly chart. This one, the IOVA and the ENDP, very tight hourly bases. SHLS, solar and solar stocks look really good. Some of them are long gone, I missed them. This one I haven't yet because it looks still good over the base right here. So it looks like over 16, stop under about 14, so it's almost a $2 stop, not quite a $2 stop, but almost. And then target would be about the 200 MA, about 2250 or so. Okay, so it looks good. I really like that JKS, which is not even on the list, is a China stock that's solar. It doesn't have a great pattern, but it's the strongest Chinese stock that I know of. I mean, pretty much. It stayed in an uptrend on the monthly. Show me another stock, China stock, that stayed in an uptrend on the monthly chart. You know, this year. This thing has maintained its uptrend. And it's solar, definitely looks higher to the prior high. I'm just trying to figure out a way in it. I was already in it and I got out, which, you know, I'm not happy about, but I'm looking to get back in it. It's not on the list because I don't think it's quite ready. I also like the lithium stocks a lot. I talked about it on Tuesday in the coaching, but they're already triggered. ALB, LTHM, they have monthly buy setups, and they maintain their monthly uptrend despite the big sell-off in the market. But again, I'm not talking about them. I don't have them on the list because they're already triggered. If you're not in, it's too late. So we talked about this SHLS. Okay. Next on the list is the TAL. Is another China stock. It's pretty on the hourly. It's an hourly based breakout. It's not my favorite. I like some of the other ones more, like the FUTU I like a lot more. But this looks good on the hourly chart for a few days. Long over the base, stop under 384. Okay, looks nice. And then VEDU showed a lot of, oh no, VEDU is different actually. I was mixing it up with the VERU maybe? VERU, yes, VERU has a daily buy setup. VERU looks nice, but it's not quite ready. It might be ready on Wednesday or so. Yeah, I don't think it's quite ready, but a lot of relative strength. VEDU, actually a lot of relative weakness, but has kind of an interesting base on that hourly chart. So over the base right here, stop under it. I don't know what the high here is. It's 169, it looks like. I think it got to 170. No, it didn't. Thought it was, yeah, it did get to 174. So the entry would be over 174, not 169, over 174. Stop would be under 134, and target, not sure, 250, maybe up here even, like this bar is high, 318. So it's interesting. It's an interesting idea. I actually like the VERU, VERU more, because it's a lot stronger. But the VERU, as I said, I only put on the list the things that are ready to go the next day. And I scan every day after the close, generate a new list. So this list is actually my list for tomorrow, just for tomorrow. But I like the VERU more overall. I like it more. It's just not quite ready for tomorrow. VIPS looks nice also. Is another China stock. Okay, that looks like it bottomed. Has that rounding bottom, is starting to uptrend, higher lows, higher highs. So I like it. VIPS over 915, stop under 776, and then set it and forget it, is what I think should be done with something like the VIPS. Long term, unless it stops out. Okay? And then last but not least is the YINN. We talked about it already. Chinese stocks look higher. This one is not very, it's not as good as the VIPS. Look at the VIPS, VIPS. Notice the 20 MA already curled, already pointing up, right? The YINN, the 20 is going through price, not under it, and is mostly flat. So that's the sector. It doesn't look quite as good as the VIPS, the FUTU, the FINV, the IQ. But look, the sector doesn't usually look as good as the individual stocks, which is why I focus on the individual stocks. Okay, otherwise I would just play the Qs and the SPY and the IWM. But I can find much better setups usually on the individual stocks. Okay, So it doesn't look that bad over 387, 88. So let's say over 390. Stop under 322. And then target 1 would be about 525. Target 2, I said $10 on the weekly chart, this area basically. About 10, maybe 9. So long-term play, but it will, as I said earlier, it'll depend on what the market does. And this recession, if we end up having a recession or not. Shorts, we got grab under 130, 126, stop over 260. I was short the grab. It got to target 1 already this day, and I covered half, but then the back half trailed out over here. Why? Because it had that huge bar, so it shook me out. I couldn't stick with it, and it backed down. So I like it a lot lower. That's the weekly chart. It looks like it's going to 0, to tell you the truth. It'd be even better if it based for a few more days, and that would allow the 20 MA to catch up and start to point down. It's still sloping downward, but more flat than really down, like here. This is the kind of moving average I want. I want it to be as much as possible 45 degrees. So under 225, stop would be over 260, and then there's no target on it. It's at all-time low. We talked about the IOVA. It would have to be under Friday's low, which is 675. Stop over 716, I think, is the high. But let's just say 720. So 675, stop over 720. And that will do it for today's video. Again, don't forget, if you'd like to join T3 Live, or if you'd like to renew your subscription, whatever it is, we have Memorial Day sale going on, 40% off through tomorrow, noon tomorrow. So make sure to check that out in the link below. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of this long weekend, and I will talk to you on the next video. Take care, everybody. Ciao.